Welcome. This is going to be our first Excel tutorial. I'm going to walk you through building a basic expense sheet, kind of like what I have in front of you. We're going to go through creating a new spreadsheet. We're going to go through the formatting to make it look like this, and we're going to go through how do you sum each row or each column, and we're going to get the average of each row so that we can get a good feel of our personal expenses. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. We're going to go to File. I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to create a new blank workbook. So I click Create, and this opens up the new sheet for us. In the very top cell, I had My Expenses, so I'm going to go ahead and put My Expenses. Right now, we're not going to worry about formatting anything. We're going to come back and do that. And then we're going to go ahead and build the format of the table itself. In the top, we had Expenses. We have Meals. We have my automobile. Fuel, insurance, my cell phone, utilities. And then horizontal across we're going to have the months. So I'm going to just abbreviate for simplicity's sake and to help us continue to move along. Okay, so we have that built now. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start formatting it how I want it to look. Now I'm going to center my expenses, and I'm going to make it slightly larger than everything else. So I'm going to select from left to right all the cells of my table, and then up here we have a merge and center option. All you have to do is click that. It merged all the cells into one cell. It centered my text, and I'm going to make it larger than the rest just so it stands out. Okay, so that's done. The next thing I want to do is color my row headers and column headers. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them. Up here is where we fill the background color. I'm going to click the down arrow because I don't want to highlight it yellow. I want to highlight mine gray instead. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them gray, and then I'm going to select the months left to right. And I can go all the way across, and now, because it already has the gray color, I can simply click the paint bucket. Now I forgot, I'm going to add the totals down here to show some formulas, and I'm going to go ahead and format this the same color. Now the next thing I want to do is add the formats for my grids. So I'm going to select, again, from the very top left to the bottom right of my table, and right here is where we put the borders. I'm going to click the down arrow. And the first thing I want it to do is have a medium line all the way across and in between each cell, and that is the all borders. So this is what it looks like now. Not too bad, but I want it to go ahead and bold my outer line. I want it to be slightly thicker. So I'm going to select everything again, and from this drop down I'm going to tell it thick box border. Now you can see my outside box is thicker than everything else, which is how I want it to look. Now we're going to go ahead and expand the cells left to right and open them up. So to do that, we can double click each column if we so choose, and what that'll do is it's going to auto expand to fit the largest object in that cell. Automobile in this case was the largest object. If I wanted to group them but have them all the same size, I can click the furthest one to the left, hold down Shift and click the furthest one to the right. Now if I expand or collapse any of these columns, it does it to all of them that I had selected. I'm going to expand it. See, I expanded it too much. You have to be careful with these. Right there looks about good. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill each of these columns with some numbers. Now again, for simplicity's sake, I don't want to do it here during this presentation, so I'm going to copy the numbers that I already typed. There's nothing special about these numbers. I'm going to highlight them all, right click, go to copy. I'm going to go back to the book that we just made, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. So here's all the numbers. Now the next thing I'm going to do, which I didn't do on my original sheet, is I'm going to go ahead and format it as money, since it is money that we're talking about. Right here we have a quick format option. You can just click the $, or up here It's a general format right now. You click the down arrow and you can change it to currency. So now we have actual numbers with dollar signs. So we're going to go ahead and sum this first column for our January expenses. Now I keep saying sum because sum is the key word here. I type all of my formulas manually, so that's how I'm going to show you. Whenever you start typing a formula, what identifies it to Excel as a formula is you have to start with the equals key. So we're going to click or type equals, and we're going to tell it sum because we want it to sum this row or this column. So you start typing sum, and then if you open a parentheses, now we can click each number if we want and just add a plus sign in between and click the next number and click plus and click another number and continue like that until you close the parentheses and hit the enter key. Now you see it sums just those 3 cells, but I want it to actually sum all of them. So I'm going to click it again and I'm going to do equal sum. It doesn't matter uppercase or lower. And you can drag. So I'm going to click the top cell and I'm going to drag it all the way to the bottom cell. I'm going to release. You see it has the colon in between. That tells it I want to add everything in between those two. So I'm going to close my parentheses and hit the enter key. Now it is automatically totaled those. Now what I want to do, because I want to total all of these from left to right, is I am going to right click and copy, and then I am going to drag it all the way across, right click and paste. Now you see that the numbers are all different. It is not pasting this number, it's posting the formula, which is telling it I want you to add the 6 cells above me together. So that's what it did. It added the 6 cells above this bottom cell all the way across. Now the next formula we're going to do is very similar. We're again going to tell it equals because we want it to know that we're doing a formula, and we're going to want it to do the average. So we just type average. Again, we're going to have to open a parentheses, and I want it to average my expenses from January all the way till December. So this will help me predict my budget next year. I'm going to close the parentheses and hit the enter key. So I see my average mills from January to December is $358.08. Again, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it down so that I can see what my monthly expenses are. So that is it. And then if I wanted to, of course, sum my averages so I can see what I should be spending monthly, I can do that. And I see that my average monthly expenses is $1,591. I'm going to go ahead and conclude this tutorial, and hopefully you found it beneficial.